a grand and magnificent temple of idols. At its center stands a massive, fearsome statue clad in gold and stone. Thousands of people surround it, prostrating at its feet, wailing for rain and crops. Suddenly, a single man tears through that vast crowd and roars in a thundering voice. "Are you calling upon a stone idol made by your own hands and abandoning the greatest creator of the heavens and the earth?" Throughout human history, thousands of idols have been worshipped. Hundreds of divine names have come and gone. But in the Holy Quran, in Surah As-Saffat, Allah Almighty directly mentions this deity Baal by name and poses a stern question. What terrible history and what deception of Shaytan lay hidden behind this idol? Why did the people of the Sham region forget Allah, the Lord of the heavens, and make this lifeless stone statue their god of rain, agriculture, and power? And how did a single prophet, Hazrat Ilyas A.S., stand alone against the superstitions of an entire nation? Today, let us uncover the mysterious and cursed history of the Baal deity mentioned in the Quran. Thousands of years ago, along the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, stretched a vast and breathtakingly green land, covering what is now modern Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. In ancient times, this region was known as Canaan, or the land of Sham. Towering cedar trees, olive groves, and vineyards spreading for miles, all forming an incredibly beautiful and prosperous civilization. Their trading ships sailed every ocean on earth. Their royal palaces were filled with splendor. But within this abundance and excessive wealth, the darkest worship in history was slowly taking shape. Excess, comfort, and luxury had made the people arrogant. As a result, they forgot the true creator of the heavens and began enslaving themselves to an imaginary power. They believed that all the clouds, thunder, and storms of the sky were controlled by one being, and that being was Baal. In ancient mythology, Baal was called the rider of the clouds. To the Canaanites, he was the ultimate symbol of power. They believed that when Baal rode his cloud chariot and roared across the sky, rain fell upon the earth and their crops grew. The survival of the entire nation seemed to rest on keeping this imaginary cloud deity satisfied. So they poured all their wealth and ingenuity into building towering, magnificent temples for Baal. Massive stone altars and terrifying statues clad in pure gold and silver. The statues of Baal were crafted so that his right hand held a bolt of lightning and his left hand clutched a spear. The eyes of the statues were made from precious red stones, which gleamed terrifyingly in the darkness when firelight struck them. The priests had planted a deep fear in people's hearts. This deity was extremely wrathful and thirsted for blood. When people saw a full harvest in their storehouses, they believed Baal was pleased with them. But whenever a slight drought appeared, as nature's cycles brought, a horrifying dread swept through the entire society. They believed that the god of death had perhaps imprisoned Baal in the underworld, and to awaken this dead deity, rituals of staggering cruelty would begin, giving birth to some of the most brutal and blind traditions in human history. People did not forget Allah and turned to idol worship overnight. Behind this lay the flawless deception of Shaytan, carried out over centuries. This region had once held the teachings of monotheism brought by Hazrat Ibrahim, A.S., and other prophets. But as generations passed, people forgot those teachings. The kings and priests of society used this worship as a tool to maintain their power. Every festival, gathering, and ritual in their society revolved around this idol. Ordinary people had no way out of it. A father would perhaps kneel with his young child on the temple steps before the statue and say, "Son, this is the great deity who sends rain from the sky, gives us our harvest, and keeps us alive." Generation after generation, fathers taught their children the worship of falsehood. Anyone who protested or rejected Baal was either exiled from society or killed. In this way, the entire machinery of the state became the guardian of shirk and superstition. When the region suffered prolonged drought, the most terrifying face of this blindness would emerge. Hoping for rain, people would go before Baal's massive statue and behave like the frenzied. They believed that the deity would not be pleased without the sight of blood, so they would dance in frenzy, scream, and slash their own bodies with blades and knives. The temple floors would be drenched in human blood, and the deafening sound of drums would shake the entire area. Blind mothers would often bring their small children to these terrifying ceremonies, leaving deep marks on their tender minds. In moments of extreme crisis, they would also mercilessly sacrifice their beloved livestock on these altars. This horrifying superstition had consumed the entire society. Yet they had forgotten that the stone statue upon which a fly could land and it could not drive it away, the statue that could not even wipe the dust from itself, how could it bring rain down from the sky? This is how Shaytan had pulled an entire nation away from servitude to the Lord of the heavens and turned them into servants of stone. When the entire Sham region had sunk into the extreme superstition and darkness of Baal worship, Allah Almighty sent a great prophet to guide them back. Hazrat Ilyas, AS, arrived and saw that the entire nation, even the mighty king of the land, were blind devotees of this Baal deity. Hundreds of priests were deceiving people day and night in the name of Baal. Hazrat Ilyas, A6's, was, in that pitch darkness, a lone lamp. With the courage of a mountain, he stepped forward to stand alone before a powerful, armed and brainwashed empire. Before the king and hundreds of his priests, he stood firm as a mountain, alone and unafraid. Looking into the eyes of the blind masses, he warned them in a thundering voice, "Do you not fear Allah? Are you calling upon stone idols made by your own hands and forgetting the one true Creator?" His fearless call for truth sent a tremor through the hearts of society's leaders. He tried to make them understand that the only owner of rain from the sky is Allah alone. The fearless call of Hazrat Ilyas, AS, robbed society's leaders of their sleep at night. They realized that if people once came to know the truth, their religious trade and their kingship would be reduced to dust. So instead of accepting what Hazrat Ilyas, AS, said, they declared him a traitor to the state. The ruthless king of that time, Ahab, dispatched his fierce soldiers in every direction to kill him. A bounty was placed on the head of Hazrat Ilyas, AS. But no power on earth can touch the one whom Allah protects. Hazrat Ilyas, AS, went into hiding in desolate wastelands, mountains and caves. While an entire state hunted him desperately, the Lord of the heavens miraculously provided for his sustenance. Even in the midst of this extreme danger, he continued moving among the people, explaining to them that Baal is nothing more than a completely false and fabricated name. He called upon them to break the fear in their hearts and place their trust in Allah. Allah Almighty has recorded this nation's terrible shirk with great clarity in the Holy Quran. Throughout history, thousands of idols have been worshipped, many deities have been named. But in the Quran, Allah directly mentions Baal by name. In Surah As-Saffat, verse 125, Allah mentions the historic question of Hazrat Ilyas, A6, and says, "Do you call upon Baal and abandon the best of creators, that is, Ahsanul Khaliqeen?" The fact that the Quran names this deity directly means that Baal worship was the worst and most widespread example of shirk in that era. Through this single verse, Allah has stirred the conscience of humanity for all time. This verse proves that no matter how old a false tradition wrapped in gold may be, in the sight of Allah, it is an act of extreme audacity. This question was not only asked by Hazrat Ilyas, AS, to his nation. Through this verse, Allah has given every human being until the day of judgment the opportunity to reflect. Through the phrase Ahsanul Khaliqeen, meaning the best of creators, Allah exposes their profound foolishness. Allah makes humanity understand. The Creator fashioned you in such a beautiful form. He crafted every vein in your body with perfect precision. He gave you air and food to sustain your life. How then do you bow your head before a wretched stone you carved with your own hands? A living, intelligent human being, with a beating heart in his chest, how does he become the slave of a piece of dead stone hewn from a mountain just yesterday? This verse was a mighty slap across the face of that nation. It proves that when Shaytan seizes control of a person's conscience, that person accepts even the most ridiculous and irrational thing as his deity without the slightest hesitation. This stands as the greatest example of how shirk grinds a person's self-respect into the dust. Hazrat Ilyas wanted to prove to his nation in concrete terms just how powerless their deity truly was. According to historical accounts, through the supplication of Hazrat Ilyas, a devastating drought struck that region. For several consecutive years, not a single drop of rain fell from the sky. The fields cracked and split open. Livestock began dying slowly from lack of water. Ordinary people faced severe famine. Hundreds of priests of Baal gathered in their grand temples and wailed before Baal day after day, begging for rain. From morning to evening, under the scorching sun, they danced and cut their bodies in an attempt to summon Baal. But not even a wisp of cloud appeared in the sky. The sky remained completely clear, mockingly blue. The priests collapsed exhausted onto the ground. The common people sank into despair. Still, the stone deity gave no answer, because a dead stone cannot give commands to the sky. After this total failure and exhaustion of the Baal worshippers, Hazrat Ilyas, stepped forward calmly and with dignity. His face showed no agitation, only an unwavering belief in his Lord. He raised his hands before Allah, the sole owner of the heavens and the earth. He supplicated, "O Allah, show this nation that the true owner of clouds and rain is you alone, not any Baal deity." Shortly after his supplication, a small patch of dark cloud appeared from the direction of the sea. In moments, that cloud covered the entire sky. A cool breeze began to blow, and rain began to fall in heavy torrents. The parched, dead earth filled with water and came back to life. People witnessed with their own eyes that the rain they had shed their blood for before idols, day after day, was now pouring down from the sky at a single sign from Allah. In this battle between truth and falsehood, the helplessness of the idol became as clear as daylight before everyone. Even after this clear distinction between truth and falsehood, the arrogance of that defiant nation did not diminish. Though Allah's rain of mercy saved their crops, their dead hearts did not come alive. Fearing that accepting the truth would mean losing power, the king and the priests displayed extreme audacity. They thought it was perhaps some powerful sorcery of Ilyas or a coincidence. Even after witnessing this open sign from Allah, they refused to believe in Hazrat Ilyas. Instead, they again declared him a traitor and plotted to kill him and increase their oppression of his followers. The defiant nation returned once more to the temples of Baal, but they had forgotten that no nation that belittles the signs of Allah can survive on this earth. Seeing this extreme defiance of his nation, Hazrat Ilyas sought the judgment of Allah. Allah commanded his prophet to leave that cursed region, and immediately after the prophet departed, the final downfall of that arrogant nation began. According to historians and scholars of Quranic exegesis, one of the most devastating calamities in history descended upon the Baal-worshipping nation of Canaan and Sham. The very clouds they had considered Baal's chariot, Allah turned into a curse for them. A catastrophic plague and famine gripped the region from which there was no escape. Then Allah sent a powerful foreign army against them. Under the relentless assault of that army, the high walls of their arrogance crumbled to rubble. The grand temples they had built over centuries were razed to the ground. The Baal they had considered the god of power could not even protect his own statue. Massive stones crumbled and fell. The golden idols they had crafted were smashed to pieces by the enemy and melted down. The bloodthirsty priests and the tyrannical king were killed in the most humiliating manner. That breathtaking, prosperous civilization was reduced in an instant to a barren wasteland. Today, only the ruins of those once magnificent cities remain, standing as a timeless lesson and a witness of the ages for all humanity. Dear viewers, the statue of the Baal deity from 1,000 years ago may no longer exist, but Shaytan today has built new Baal deities in our hearts: money, power, and arrogance. History testifies that every nation which forgot Allah, the one true creator, and worshipped things of its own making, its destruction was inevitable. If you want to learn about more such mysterious nations mentioned in the Holy Quran and the history of their downfall, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Share this video and play your part in spreading Islam.